Hi, Mama. Welcome to the One Income Family Podcast. Have you ever wondered how much money you need monthly to live abundantly on one income? Do you feel like you're struggling on the income that you currently bring in? Are you ready to be joyful instead of stressed over your income? These are the kinds of questions as to why this episode came to be. I could give you a tactical number, run you through all the stats and all that, but the real answer to abundance is not a specific number. It's your mindset, which is why I am sharing with you 4 mindset shifts you can start working on today so that you can start achieving abundance now rather than later. So go cuddle up with a nice warm drink, get comfy with them babies, and open your heart to God as we head into today's episode. Do you find it hard to save or get out of debt? Are you constantly searching for ways to save money and live on a budget? Do you have big dreams only to be stopped by not sticking to your budget? Are you ready for financial freedom? Then you, Mama, are in the right place. Welcome to the One Income Family Podcast, where you will learn what it looks like to budget on one income, how to partner with God in your finances, how to budget in a way that's easy to stick to, and how to cut costs and save money, all so that you can start building wealth. It is my mission to equip you with these tools so that you can live in abundance regardless of the amount in your account. Hey, I'm Molly, a budget coach for stay-at-home moms, and I know what it's like to struggle on one income. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, relied on being frugal, and failed many budgets until I learned how to budget without tracking. This has allowed my family to pay off debt and build wealth all on one income. So, if you are ready for financial freedom, then go grab that stroller, plug in those headphones, and let's get to it. So you want to learn how to budget on one income. You're ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck so that you can finally do more than simply pay your bills and eat your food. You want to pay off debt and start reaching your financial goals so that you can finally get ahead. What if I told you that could be you next month? You could have a simple budget that allows you to easily track your expenses and live beneath your means so that you can finally have, that little bit of wiggle room that you have been praying for. No more wondering if you have the money or not. No more worrying about unexpected expenses. No more late fees or even insufficient funds. And all you have to do is book a budget audit to see what steps you need to take to make this dream a reality. Send me an email at mollybennell@gmail.com and book your budget audit today. Again, that is Molly Bennell, so that's MOLLY, B as in boy, ENELL @gmail.com. Alrighty, so living abundantly on one income, or even just abundantly, period. It doesn't matter what income you are living on, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, whether you make a whole lot of money or a whole little amount of money, right? It is not easy. It is difficult. And like I said in the intro of this, I could probably figure out numbers for you and give you stats and all this information on how to live abundantly, but it's going to be different based on everybody's situation, based on what your living costs are and your home and how many people are in your family and all that kind of information. So I can't just give you a statistic. I can't just say, hey, as soon as you make 100,000, you're good, right? No, because I lived abundantly on less than 100,000, right? But my point is that living abundantly isn't a statistical thing. In my opinion, and I'm pretty sure if you ask everybody else around you, you're going to find that it's more of a mindset and a heart set issue if you want to live abundantly. It's not the physical, tactical numbers, how much money you bring in, what you do with your money. It is simply how you feel about your money, the way you feel when you do something. And that's what I want to share with you, because I know what it's like to live in lack, to feel like I don't have enough money, to feel like I'm constantly needing to bring in more income when all reality I don't. I know that part of my struggle is that I went from working to not working, and I feel guilty in a sense because my husband's off working and I'm at home with the kids. Now I try to do things at home to essentially compensate, which I'm air quoting that, to compensate the workload to make it fair, again, air quoting. But it doesn't really have to be because we are okay financially. I do not need to bring in more income to be able to make it and live on one income. But to live abundantly, I feel like I need to bring in more income because we started off with our one income journey in a feeling of lack, feeling like we need more income because we started with more income together. And then when I left my job, I then had to figure out how to make it on like, I don't remember if it was 30 or 40,000 a year, but that's what we were doing. And it was a struggle, and we did need more income for some of the things to be able to actually make it on one income. But it still put us into a mindset where we didn't have enough. We were in need, we were stressed, we were worried, and it was kind of like an ebb and flow of the worry because I was excited. I knew we'd cover all of our bills, but all the fun stuff I wasn't worried about because I was elated that I got to stay home with my baby girl. And then as things went on, I started realizing, well, we have enough money for our bare bones, our basic needs, but to do the fun stuff and to save up, we kind of did need a little more income. But again, it's the mindset piece of it. We could have made that work had my husband not gotten a raise, because literally as soon as we became a one income family, he got a raise. Now, it wasn't all that much, but it was a little. And then a year into it, he got another raise, but then we moved houses. So our mortgage bill went up, and where we live is now 45 minutes away from the nearest town, and getting groceries and going anywhere just for work put $400 a month plus just traveling for that, right? And so even though he got an income raise, we added more expenses. So it was still felt like we were living in lack. And instead of embracing this mindset of abundance, we just lived and immersed ourselves in this feeling of lack, going, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more. But did I really need more to feel happy? Now, maybe I did need some more for the actual sense of things, to actually be able to do a few more things that we wanted to do, but my needs were met. And if I wanted to do more things, all I had to do was take it to God, right? So I just want you to understand how captivating essentially living in lack is. Like, you can get there and you can just swim in this pool of like-minded people where you just are like, I don't have enough money. I need more money. I need more money. And then when you get more money, you still feel like you need more money because you've been living that way your entire life. And you find a way that when you finally get money, you're like, okay, I can buy this. I can put it towards that thing. And now all of a sudden you're out of money again, right? And so that is what we have to break. That is the mindset that we have to step out of so that we can really just enjoy the life we have. Look at the spreadsheet, at the budget with a mindset of it being your facts. This is telling you what you can and cannot do. This is your facts. This is where you can put your money. This is where you don't have money to put it there, kind of thing, right? And so just think of your budget as your fact sheet. But that's not going to give you a life of abundance, right? Like I said, you can jump into that lifestyle creep and just allow it to continually drag you back into that feeling of lack. And And I don't want that for you. So before I continue rambling down this rabbit hole, because I could keep going on that for like forever, because it's just really on my heart. I feel it myself. I'm fighting myself getting out of that feeling of lack. And I've seen some changes. I've seen some growth in it. And that is why I want to share this with you, right? So I have, like I said, 4 mindset shifts that I want to bring to your attention as to why you are living in lack so that you can find a way to get out of it, right? So the first one that I'm going to share with you, and this is something that I've talked about many times, and I'm sure you may be tired of hearing it because I'm sure you hear it everywhere else too, but it's to work on a life of contentment. Now, what does contentment mean? It means like being happy with what you have, right? And I used to think that that was like the worst thing possible because it meant that you couldn't want something more. It meant that you had to stick with what you had and you couldn't go out and try to make the situation a better situation, right? But that's not the case. It means that while you're in, I'm going to say a season of maybe like waiting, you are not trying to look for the next best thing because you know that you can't afford it. And instead of immersing yourself in that self-pity, in that self-doubt, in that feeling of not being able to get it and just being upset all the time. Maybe it's a pickup, maybe it's something else that you really want. But instead of just wallowing in it, get out of it and look at what you have. Look at what is around you and be grateful. Be content with the life that you currently have. But that doesn't mean that you can't, when you are able to, go for the things that you want. It also doesn't mean that you can't dream. You can go out, you can dream about anything that you want in your life, as long as it doesn't start tearing you down and start putting you in a negative mindset. So we want a mindset that is full of positive fruit, right? Positive fruits of the spirits instead of negative fruit that tears you down and just rots, right? That's not what we want. And so really working on a life of contentment is going to allow you to just see what is actually like around you, what you do have instead of focusing on what you don't have. So when you stop thinking that you are in lack, right? That you are stressed out, that you're worried, that you're fearful, and you shift into I have much, the way you see things will change. So stop focusing on the future, but rather focus on the here and now. What do you have now? Doesn't mean that in the future things won't change, and it doesn't mean that you have to be stuck with this life forever, because that's what I used to feel like contentment was. Like you have to just be happy with what you have and forget the rest of it, right? No, that's not the case. But one thing that I really want to share with you, and I suggest you go read the whole passage because it is so powerful. I read through it and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should just read the whole passage to you, but I'm going to stick to this one verse because it can be a little bit long. But essentially what, oh my gosh, I think it's Paul that wrote this. Okay, you're going to have to check my facts. Fact check me for sure because I don't remember who wrote this. But in Matthew, we read that, I'm pretty sure Matthew wrote Matthew. Okay, anyways, fact check me. But in Matthew 6:34, or even that whole passage, I don't remember what verse it starts at, it's talking about not worrying, not living a life of fear and worry, and to really embrace today, right? So Matthew 6:34 is, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So that is why you want to worry about what's going on right now. Like, be content with the day that you're living. Be content with the things that you have. Be grateful that you're able to have the things that you have because it could be worse off, right? And then just take each day one day at a time instead of trying to think about the future. Because when you think too far in the future and you dwell and you live in the future, you're wasting today. Your joy that you could be having right now is focused on the future. And when you get so focused on the future, you're never able to come back. So even when you say, oh, when I get this thing, I'll be able to come back and be joyful. No, you'll quickly and very rapidly move on to the next thing that you feel like you're lacking and still miss that joy that you could be living in, right? So figure out what is stealing your joy? What in the future or what thing that you don't have are you so focused on? And figure out a way. Take it to God. Say, hey, I don't know how to let this go. I would like this. I really want this, but I want to be able to focus on today and be joyful about today and not try to be jumping into next week, right? Or next year. I want to be happy with my family today and now. Okay, so the next thing that I want to share with you is do not put your identity in how much money you have. This is so hard to do in the world that we live in because everybody is like, ooh, look how much money I have. I can show it off because I bought this brand new car. I bought this huge house. I've bought, I don't know, throw in whatever it is that you feel like you should have or you see somebody have, or maybe they went on a huge vacation that you would love to be able to go on, but you can't afford it, right? But that is what I'm talking about. That is an identity of money, of material things, of the fact that I went and I made this money and now I'm showing my worth through the things that I buy. My worth is tied to how much money I can make, and that is not the case. If you lost your job today, tomorrow, you would still be the same person. Now, you might be stressed and overwhelmed and sad, but you would still be you. Your identity is not tied to how much money you make. I don't want you to think that in order to be joyful and have an abundant life that you have to be showing off everything that you have, right? Stop using your money to show off. Stop thinking that the money you make is what you're worth and using it as your identity. The money that you make, you may have nothing to show for it, and that's okay. But if you feel like your money, that you're making all this money and you have nothing to show for it, then I want you to sit down and I really want you to look at how you're spending your money, because that is a spending issue. That has nothing to do with how much money you bring in or where your money has to go or how much little of an income you may have, but rather your priorities that you have in your income and how you've set them up in your savings goals or your debt goal, that kind of stuff. You've really got to identify what your priorities are to be able to feel like you have something to show for your money. And something to show for your money doesn't, and I should say shouldn't, have anything to do with showing it off, with putting it on Instagram. Like, you can be super excited about it and you can go share it with your friends and be like, oh my gosh, I finally worked on this and we finally reached our goal and I'm super excited. But if you have a heart of, yeah, I got this and you didn't, nana boo boo, that is not a mindset that is fruitful, right? That is a mindset of, I was in lack, I got my thing, now it's time to jump to the next one so I can show off and I can be better than you. Like, that's not the mindset you want. That's not where you are going with this, but it can be so easy to embrace that lifestyle in the world that we live in. Okay, so number 3, the third mindset shift that we need to work on, and I'm right here with you when this thought came into my brain. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew this was from God, and I'm going, oh wow, okay, that's something I need to work on as well. And that is to stop being so darn materialistic. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. Stop being materialistic. That is the world we live in, especially in the United States, where we kind of live a privileged life. Even if you do bring in a low income, we have the ability to save up for all of these things, and some places barely have 2 pennies to rub together, right? And so when we have all this money, we feel like we have to do something with it, or maybe it burns a hole in your pocket and you have to go out and you have to buy the next thing on TikTok that you see that somebody's trying to sell, right? The next trendy thing. But is that going to bring you joy? Is that going to bring you a life of abundance? No, it's not. It may give you 5 seconds of joy and then you're ready to move on to the next thing, but it's not going to be lasting joy, right? So I want you to look around at the things that you have. Things don't have to look pretty to bring us a life of abundance and joy. Like, think about this. When you are young, like I would say a child, you would generally say that kids are pretty cute. And then, you look at your face and all your facial features, and this is a terrible explanation because it's all on body image. But bear with me. As you grow, you change. Your facial features become less babyish, they become more refined. And then as you continue to age, your body starts to break down, and some people may age well, some people might not age well. But guess what? You as a person are still beautiful on the inside. You are still going to bring joy to somebody no matter if you look good or not. And some people go out there and try to fix their faces with like Botox and all this kind of stuff. But even if you didn't, even if you let your body just age the way you wanted to, or the way it wanted to, I should say, then you are still going to bring somebody joy and be just as good. Think about this as like, oh my gosh, why can't I think of the word I want? Antique things that used to be used like hundreds of years ago, and now they're coming back in and they're cool and people want to get them because they're awesome and they look pretty, but they're not the now thing, right? But they're still something that's going to bring us joy. So when you have that kind of mentality and you look at the things around you, you can say to that darn stove that is a hand-me-down that you bought off of Facebook Marketplace, or maybe it was a dollar auction. I think that's where, we got it off the auction site on Facebook. Anyways, it doesn't look pretty. It looks scratched up. It looks beat up. It doesn't match the colors of the rest of our appliances. And it looks out of place, but guess what? It makes some darn good food. It definitely brings us joy because we're able to pull food out and share it with our family and have a fun time together. It does its job regardless of what it looks like. And because I'm able to find joy in the things that I have, I'm able to release that need to buy a new one that, even though it would match the colors of everything else and make my whole kitchen look more Instagram-ish or Pinterest perfect or whatever you want to call it, then that is something that I can release because I am not worried about what it looks like, because I am still able to use it. It is still functioning. It is still working. And I can be content with that. Now, when it goes down and we need a new one, if we have the finances, maybe we can go buy a new one. Or maybe we'll have to do the same thing and go find another cheaper style of what it is. And maybe I can be more picky. Maybe I can't, It all depends. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to stress about that. And I'm just going to be content with the thing that I have and not try to be buying things all the time, right? So like I teach my volleyball girls, It's not about the score. Lots of times, so I teach 11 and under, so that's like 10, 11-year-olds, or I coach 10 and 11-year-olds. But they're constantly going, what's the score? What game are we on? Like, what set? What's the score? Like, I've heard that so many times. I could probably have a whole lot of money if I'd have them put $1 in every single time they ask me. But I tell them it's not about the score, but rather how much fun you're having. The score is simply a reflection of your fun. And that's the same way in your house. If you are content and joyful with the things that you have in your home, you're not going to need or have that desire to go out and have to buy something new, right? And this leads me into the next thing, the next point. Release the perfectionism. Materialism and perfectionism go together. And what I mean by perfectionism is simply to embrace the messy. Like, stop trying to think that you are going to live in a picture perfect Instagram house or car or, outside of your house, your yard. Yeah, maybe eventually you can get some things and it can start looking more and more as you are able to slowly start adding things to your house, like an Instagram image. But the world that we live in, everything is like, we need it to look exactly like that, but it's not going to, right? We are stay-at-home moms, and so we live in our house 24/7, which means if you want that picture-perfect house, you are going to be cleaning 24/7, and ain't nobody got time for that, especially not this girl right here. Like, I have actually gotten real behind on my cleaning. Usually I do weekly cleaning. Well, that weekly cleaning has somehow turned into monthly cleaning, and I'm going, man, I really need to vacuum the floor. But my point here is to release that comparison feeling, release the desire to have a picture-perfect house. I have just, especially with children, because I have just painted my kitchen cabinets. Like, they're not even a year old. They weren't even maybe a week old. And my daughter, who was mad at me, decided to run up and start digging her finger underneath the fresh paint and start peeling it off. It had not completely cured, so yeah, now there's a big hole where my paint was. Was I thrilled? No. Do I need to touch it up? Yeah, but I haven't had the time for that yet, right? And my freshly laid floor that we just put in, I don't know, we bought it when we bought the house, so it's like 3 years old, but we just finally put it in like November, December, somewhere in there. And that is like the day of, as we were laying it, somebody accidentally put Sharpie right in the middle of one of the planks. And I'm going, man, now we got Sharpie on it, right? My white walls that I painted on my kitchen to go with my freshly painted cabinets should never have been painted white, especially like, I grew up being a painter. That's what I did in the summer times. I knew better than to put a non-gloss paint in my kitchen. I didn't do flat, I did satin, but still it was more of a matte look and had less gloss on it, which you'll understand if you do paints. And I should not have done that because it's more sticky for a sense, right? It catches everything. When something rubs on it, it's like rubbing on sandpaper and it just rubs it right onto the wall. And I'm like, okay, wrong color choice, wrong paint choice. I now need to repaint my walls because I do not want to have to be cleaning them 24/7. Again, if you want that picture perfect Instagram worthy photo, you better get it like 2 minutes after you go and clean everything, because otherwise your kids are going to have it messy, and even your husband or even you. Something will happen, you'll forget, and then it's not going to happen, right? So you get it for like 2 seconds and then it's messy again. So that is why I'm just like, embrace that life, embrace the messy, and stop trying to live in the world where we are focused on like needing more money, where we're focused on like our income showing our worth, on material things and being Instagram picture perfect, because that is not a life that is going to bring you joy and abundance. That is a life that is going to leave you constantly in a mindset where I am not enough, where I can't do enough to keep my house clean. I can't buy enough to bring me enough joy. My identity and my worth, like I'm not worthy enough because I don't make enough money, right? I'm upset all the time instead of content because I don't have enough money. Release that feeling of lack and just dive into a feeling of abundance. And how do you do that? You do that by embracing a life focused on gratitude. When you are focused on being grateful, you shift your perspective to one that is joyful. It is scientifically proven, and it even states it in the Bible, that you cannot be anxious, fearful, you cannot worry, and be joyful, peaceful, and living in love. You are like, it's not possible. So how do you fight that anxiety, that fear, that living in lack? You do it by being grateful. When you are grateful, you are able to shift your mindset. You are able to shift your perspective and focus on what is true, what is noble, what is good, pure, lovely, and praiseworthy. And you are able to just like bask in that because you are joyful. It's going to push out all those negative thoughts. Instead of, it's like when you buy a new car and you have never seen it before. Maybe every now and again you're like, oh, there's that car. Well, your brain attunes to your new car and you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, I see my car everywhere. That is what is going to happen. Again, another scientific thing right there. But that is what's going to happen when you start focusing on gratitude. Instead of being able to see the lack everywhere, you're going to be able to see the abundance everywhere. You're going to be able to see the things that you are excited about, the things that you have that you're like, yes, I have that. I don't need something else. I have it already. Now, maybe when it breaks down, you can be like, okay, what kind would I rather have? Can I do it this way? Can I do something else? Then yeah, have at it. But that is for another day. Just dive into what you are grateful for, and you can simply just start with the walls that you have, like the things that are in your kitchen. Just start naming it. Name the tile, name the flooring, name the table, even though your table needs refinished, right? Just start naming them and allow that to renew your mind. So the verse that I was talking about, I really want to share this with you, and then I will hop off from here. But it's a very important verse because I mentioned that you cannot coexist. Fear and anxiety cannot coexist with joy and peace. And this is the verse that I want you to take it and I want you to run with it. It is Philippians 4:6-8. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on such things. That is how you shift your mindset. That is how you are able to embrace a mindset of abundance instead of a mindset of lack. Another thing that I want to point out is that you are supposed to not only think on these things, but take them to God, because when you focus on what is true, whatever is noble, lovely, good, pure, all those things that he mentioned, and you take it to God and you say thank you, it's so much more powerful than if you're just like, yeah, I'm joyful for this, I'm joyful for that. Instead, you are connecting with God. If you take it to Him, it's going to be a much more powerful response and connection in your brain because you are connecting with someone through it. So take those things. If there is a negative thought, a negative belief that is not good or pure, and you don't know how to get rid of it, take it to God. Let Him help you through it. Allow Him to show you what is true instead of trying to figure it out yourself. That's how you're going to start being grateful, how you're going to start seeing the good things, how you are going to start seeing God move mountains in your life, because you're attuning your mind to what is good, to what is true, pure, lovely, praiseworthy, and you're connecting with God, and you're able to see Him move and see these good things happen all around you. So, like I said, I'm going to stop there because I could, again, continue just ranting about this, but it's just so good. If you have questions about this, if you have thoughts on this, I would love to hear them. I would love to connect with you. So bring them over, and you can either join me in the Facebook group and connect with me through Messenger, or you can send me an email to mollybennell@gmail.com and just reach out to me with your questions. Reach out to me with your thoughts on the podcast. If you would like me to do an episode on a specific topic, reach out to me so that I can make this podcast something that you want to listen to and get the answers that you are searching for, not just what I think you're searching for, right? So again, bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your thoughts, bring everything to me over to either the community, which again, you can connect with me in the community or through Messenger, or simply by shooting me an email to mollybennell@gmail.com. And with that being said, I will see you right back here next week on another episode of the One Income Family Podcast. Before you go, I hope this episode has ignited a fire inside of you, and I pray that it creates long-lasting impact. Did you know that you too can impact other one-income families? All you have to do is leave a written review, and you help get the podcast in the hands of other mamas in need. You can also text this episode to that friend who is also knee-deep in the same kind of chaos as you and inspire them to make a change. Also, your review lets me know that you're enjoying the show, and that lights me up. I get so excited to hear from you. Another great way that we can connect, though, is through the One Income Family community over on Facebook. So after you're done leaving that 5-star review, head on over to the community where you will find other mamas working their way out of the chaos. You can ask your questions and connect with others who truly understand what you are going through. I cannot wait to connect with you in the community. Until then, I will see you right here next week on another episode of the One Income Family Podcast.